You've probably heard about credit unions before, but one thing I didn't realize is how they seem to generate a lot of strong emotions. Like, no, seriously. We recently posted a TikTok, and then, like, in the comments, it was just this long thread about, like, how people are like, no credit unions, no banks, no credit unions. And so I thought it'd be really cool to do a video, and we'll talk about credit unions, what they are, and more importantly, should you be team credit union or team bank? Hey guys, Jessica here. So before jumping into it, really quick call out that we're Uprise. We're a fintech startup that puts together personalized Wall Street level financial plans completely free. And this is a lot of what we do. We take a look at all the different financial products out there, banks, credit unions, etc. And then also take a look at people's specific situations to match people up to like the best product for them and optimize their financial situations. So to get your free plan, definitely check us out in the description below. And also, please make sure to give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. It really helps small channels like ours. So getting back to it, on credit unions, I'm gonna first talk a little bit about what a credit union is. Like, we all have this idea that it's some bank-like entity, but really digging in and specifically like how a credit union works, as well as the pros and cons, and why or how is it different than a bank? And lastly, most importantly, how to figure out whether or not a credit union makes sense for you. All right, jumping into it. So what is a credit union? They're financial institutions, as you probably know. They are a lot like banks. So they offer checkings accounts, savings accounts. A lot of the big ones also offer things like auto loans, mortgages, credit cards, etc. So the interesting thing about a credit union is that they have this idea of members, which is an interesting structure. The way it works is that a customer of a credit union, so the people who have checking accounts, savings accounts, are also members of the credit union, which means that they are owners of that credit union. And so the way, in theory, that means, right, like if the customers are also the owners, that if the credit union is making a lot of money, they should be giving that money back to their owners / back to their customers. And they normally do this by giving higher interest rates on savings accounts, lower interest rate on loans, and basically better products in general. And so basically, this is the biggest difference between a bank and a credit union, which is that credit unions make a really big deal about this idea of membership, about being part of this community, whereas banks really don't care all that much. And also, credit unions are not for profit, whereas banks are very much for profit. One other thing I wanted to call out is sort of how insurance works on credit union deposits. So you probably have this idea that, hey, banks are insured by the FDIC, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, which means that like any money that you put into a bank account is insured by the federal government in case that bank were to go under, you wouldn't lose your money up to $250,000. Credit unions work the same way. So as long as that credit union is a member of the National Credit Union Administration, then deposits are also insured up to $250K, backed by the US Treasury, all that good stuff. Okay, so pros and cons of credit unions. The biggest pro here is a lot of what we talked about, like this idea of membership, right? Which is to say, like, if the credit union is doing well, they're providing good service, more customers come, more owners, and they give back some of those profits to customers in the form of, better rates in general. And so you should hopefully be seeing some pretty good rates at credit unions. On top of that, federal credit unions actually don't have to pay federal taxes, which means that hopefully you should be seeing even more good rates and lower fees. Long story short on this, if you're shopping around for a financial product, a bank account, or a loan, or something like that, definitely makes sense to check out credit unions because they have these structural sort of advantages in terms of giving good rates and worth checking out. And one more thing that stands out about credit unions is the fact that, this idea of membership, they really lean into that concept, right? Like, it's all about the community feel, and a lot of credit unions are linked to broader communities. Say they're linked to an employer or they're linked to a local region. And so through that community, through that credit union, you really get the sense of that personal touch a lot more. They take the time to do personal finance classes, stuff like that. And so that is one thing that you could maybe find at a credit union that you probably wouldn't be able to find as much at a bank. So to talk about cons a little bit, the flip side of that community feel is that credit unions have eligibility requirements. Some are really strict, some are not strict at all. But the point is, like, for example, you probably can't join the NASA credit union unless you're an astronaut or something like that. Also, even though in theory credit unions are supposed to have great rates and stuff like that, a lot of them are small and kind of old school. So that leads to a few things, like their tech frequently isn't all that good. They don't have as good coverage in terms of like physical locations, ATMs, stuff like that, may be harder to come by. They frequently have fewer products available than, say, a big bank, so fewer deposit and loan type of products. And the last thing is like the idea of, do they have lower rates? They might not even have the lowest rates, in the sense that like these days there are a lot of like online banks out there and neobanks who are able to like completely not have physical branches at all and then put all of that money savings into giving customers even better deals. So the last question, should you go for it? A lot of this depends on you. But I do want to say that, hey, if you are shopping around for a new financial product of any kind, definitely worth checking out credit unions. There's no downside. And also some of those structural things that I mentioned about the membership may actually mean that they have the best deal on the market to you. Outside of that, though, I think it depends a little bit on what you value. Whether or not you value that personal touch, that community feel, that kind of stuff, you're much more likely to find that at a credit union. And if that's not so important, if you care more about access to ATMs, if you care about, having the best tech, stuff like that, then stick with the bank. And that's it. If you have any other questions about credit unions, definitely let us know in the comments below. Also, if you like more support with personal finance, definitely make sure to sign up for Uprise. We put together personalized Wall Street level financial plans completely free, as I mentioned. The link's in the description below. And so if you're feeling stressed about anything financial, budgeting, employer benefits, saving for retirement, whatever it is, we'd be happy to help. And on average, we've put $100K back into people's pockets. Other than that, if you'd like to see more videos like this one, please give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and click the bell for notifications. I'll see you guys next time.